All right, guys, this is 8.7a, finding the zeros of polynomials. So we're really just doing a continuation on what we've been doing since 8.5, which is just finding the factors of a polynomial, setting them equal to 0, and then solving them. So what we're looking for are where the polynomial is going to cross the x-axis. And in this lesson, we're also going to add where is it going to cross the y-axis. So all we're really doing that's new here, so the new part is just finding the y-intercept. Okay, so we know that the number of zeros is equal to the degree of the polynomial, okay, and that imaginary zeros or solutions are not going to cross the x-axis. When we're looking for the y-intercept, we know that the y-intercept happens here on the y-axis. Now on the y-axis, x is equal to 0. So if we have some polynomial, okay, we know that here it's going to have 3 zeros, 4, 2, 3, 4 real zeros. So it's going to have 4 real roots, okay, or zeros, or x-intercepts, or solutions. Okay, those are all the same thing. Okay, and it's going to have a few imaginary solutions. Now those are going to happen, where it doesn't cross the x-axis. Now what we're adding here that we're going to be solving for is now the y-intercept. So that we're going to be solving for that. That's the y-intercept, which you'll also hear referred to as a 0, but when we're talking about zeros, we're really talking about the x-axis. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I have this example for you here, x to the 5th plus 9x cubed minus 2x squared minus 18x. We're going to factor it. Remember, when you factor, you want to do GCF, factor, and then solve, and then our new step here is going to be to find the y-intercept. So we see that we do have a GCF. They all have x. So if I pull out an x, I'm left with x to the 4th plus 9x squared minus 2x, yes, minus 18. Okay, so one thing that you want to be aware of is that, like right here, we're missing the cube term, all right? So if we were to factor it, let's factor it by grouping. So I'm going to cut it in half. I still have this x out here on the outside. From here, I'm going to pull out an x squared, and I'm left with x squared. No, this isn't going to work out, plus 9. And here, if I took out a negative 2, it would leave me x minus plus 9 here. Let's make this a 4 so we can make this nice. So then that's going to leave me with x. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I just want to make this video quick. So I changed the original problem. I had a 5 here. I changed it to a 4. Maybe I copied it down right. But I changed it so that we can factor it quickly, because by now you should already know how to find the roots. And I just want to show you how to find the y-intercepts. So I changed that from a 5 to a 4. Okay, so I still have a GCF of x, which I pulled out here. So when I take out the x from here, I'm left with x cubed, x squared, x, and there's no x here on this last term. So now when I cut it in half and factor by grouping, I can still pull out an x squared here, which is what I did there. That's the x squared that I took out, which is going to leave me x to the 1st here plus 9. When I pull out the negative 2 over here, I'm left with x to the 1st plus 9. So this and this are the same. This x is just going to come down as the GCF. I have x plus 9, and then x squared minus 2 here. All right. So now we have to solve it. Okay. X is equal to 0, x plus 9 is equal to 0, and x squared minus 2 is equal to 0. This one's done. Okay, so that's one of our roots, or one of our zeros. Subtract 9 on each side. X is equal to negative 9. There's our second one. Add 2. X squared equals 2. Take the square root of each side. X is equal to plus or minus square root of 2. Okay, so now I've found all of my roots. So if I wanted to sketch a graph of it, I know that it would cross here at the origin. At negative 9, I would have an intercept, and then at the positive square root of 2, and at negative square root of 2. Okay, so it's going to cross the x-axis 4 times. Now the last thing that I'm going to do here is find the y-intercept. So we know the y-intercept happens on the y-axis when x is equal to 0. So this is actually an easy part. Let me do it in red. So what I'm going to do is, in order to solve for the y-intercept, I'm going to plug in 0 for x into this function. So I have x to the 4th plus 9x cubed minus 2x squared x to the 4th plus 9x cubed minus 2x squared minus 18 times x. So I plug in 0 here, 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 and here. Well, 0 to the 4th is 0. 9 times 0 cubed is 0. 2 times 0 squared is 0. And then 18 times 0 is also 0. So my y-intercept here is 0. It was just a coincidence. Usually you'll have to do some kind of math here, plug it in your calculator if you need to. So my y-intercept is at the point 0, 0, which we can see here. Okay, you're only ever really going to have one y-intercept when dealing with polynomials, so we know that the function is going to cross right here. That is also going to serve, it's a 0, and it is our y-intercept. Okay, I'll do one more example for you. So this one's already factored. We need to find all of the real roots and the y-intercept. So this one's going to be easy. We can set this one equal to 0. X minus 1 is equal to 0. X minus 1 equal to 0. Add 1 on both sides. X is equal to 1 is one of our roots. X to the 4th, you add 1 here, is equal to 1. You can take the 4th root of 1. This one's easy. 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. So x is equal to 1 here, plus or minus. So there's 3 real roots that we have here, okay? So these are actually going to overlap, okay? So this one is positive 1, and negative 1. So if we wanted to sketch our graph, we know that it's going to happen at 1. So here we actually have, if I want to write it out, our roots here are negative 1 and 1 with a multiplicity of 2, because it happens twice, positive 1, positive 1. So at 1 and at negative 1, it's going to cross the x-axis there. So now we're going to solve for the y-intercept. Okay, to do that, we're going to plug in 0 here. So we have x to the 4th minus 1 times x minus 1. Plug in 0 here and here. 0 to the 4th is 0. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. So our y-intercept happens at the point 0, 1 on the y-axis there. Okay, so that's your y-intercept. And that's really all you're doing. Sorry guys. That's really all we're doing here in this section, just incorporating the y-intercept to the factoring and solving and sketching the graph. That's it. I have another example here. I'm not going to work through it because it's the same thing. So you can do this one for extra credit if you want to. Have it ready when you walk into the door and give it to me. Otherwise, this is your practice problem. Find all the distinct roots, so real and imaginary, and then also find the y-intercept here. Okay. I feel like this shouldn't be too hard for you to do. If you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. Otherwise, I will see you in class.